After 3 years of ownership, I have a few thoughts on the Pan America. Let's talk about it. All right, so first things first, I'm not a reviewer by any stretch. Disclaimer though, I do work for Harley-Davidson, or at least I work for a dealership. I am a salesman, have been for 8 years. So you may trust my opinion or not. But I am just giving you my opinion on the bike that I personally own, which is a 2021 Pan America. I got it when it first came out. Prior to that, I actually had a KTM, which says anything. I'm not brand loyal or anything like that, even though I work for the company. But it was a personal choice after having the 790. It was just too tall for me, even with a low seat. And the adjustable ride height on the Pan America was everything to me, and is the first pro that I would say about owning this bike, and that's the adaptive ride height. So the bike has 7.5 inches of travel front and back, semi-active suspension, which is adjusting the dampening on the fly, including your preload, which is another reason why I absolutely love the suspension on this bike. Not having to mess with your preload adjustments when you're loading it up. When you want to go off-road or on-road, or you want to go on the twisties, you can just pop it into sport mode or off-road mode, and all the dampening gets adjusted on the fly, which is amazing. But the adaptive ride height, being able to drop the bike 2 inches when you come to a stop, made the bike so much more rideable. Just an example, the KTM 790 is 100 pounds less than the Pan America, but the Pan America feels 100% or 100 pounds less than the KTM, simply because I can get my feet, touching the ground properly, which made all the difference with this bike. The next amazing thing about this bike is the engine. I mean, the engine is so much fun. It's got 150 horse, 94 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 60-degree V-twin, overhead cams, variable valve timing, fully adjustable, or no, self-adjusting valves, so you never have to do valve jobs, which is great. But the power out of this thing, the torque out of it, um, I mean, there's no bike that's ever put a smile on my face like this bike does all the time. Um, every time I twist the throttle and I hit 6,000 RPM, it's just, it just blows your mind. Definitely, the engine is definitely one of the best features of this motorcycle, and I look forward to seeing what other bikes Harley's going to put in them, because it's going to be pretty cool. Um, what else? Handling. The handling of the bike is great. So it's a true 50-50 um motorcycle, kind of like the BMW GSA, where it's just as good on road as it is off road. If you're in the market for an ADV bike and you're looking for something that's mostly roadworthy, or you're going to be doing mostly road, you might want to look at a multistrada. If you're, doing mostly dirt, the KTM, obviously a very dirt focused motorcycle. But if you truly want a 50-50, to do long distance on the road comfortably, do off road confidently. The Harley and the BMWs, I think, are the two best. I can't speak for Triumph because I've never ridden one. All the other bikes I've ridden. Um, so yeah, uh, definitely the Harley handles amazing. It's a little slow going into corners, but that's the longer wheelbase, which makes it amazing off road. So you got to compromise with the handling and the chassis, so that you can do both very, very well. So the Harley, definitely amazing off road and on road. Very, very well balanced, low center of gravity. So it's great. So the other really good thing about the bike is its comfort. Um, I think the stock seat is totally fine. I actually have it on the low position. The bike comes, or the seat can go into two different positions, and it also Harley also sells two different seats, a low seat and a high seat, and they each have two positions as well. So you can really dial in um, how you sit on the bike and your comfort level. The lower position on the bike actually is more flat, which my biggest complaint about the KTM is how angled the seat is. So it made it really uncomfortable. But the Harley, the low position actually sits quite flat, and yeah, it's super comfortable for long distance rides. For long distance rides, and yeah, I've just been really enjoying it, and I have no complaints on the comfort side of things. And then lastly, for pros, the looks. It might not be for everybody, but I absolutely love it. Here, hold on. So, I mean, the design of this bike to me is flawless. It's a piece of art in my opinion. You know, you got the straight line down this way, and then you have a straight line across here, and then if you look, there's like another angular line that goes rounded like that, and then there. I don't know. I just think it's beautiful. It might not be for everybody, but for me, love it. All right, so we got to talk about some cons. It's not a perfect bike by any stretch. Um, One of the main ones is obviously is going to be the kickstand. Um, I'm sure you've heard plenty about it. I'm not worried about. Uh, a lot of people are worried about it shearing off or it punching through the engine. And people are complaining that, oh well, the kickstand is attached to the engine. Well, the bike doesn't have a frame, so I'm not sure exactly where the engineers were supposed to attach to the kickstand, with there being no frame there. But I've had zero issues with the kickstand. The only problem that I have with it is the height. So this ties into the suspension, right? So the suspension on the bike drops 2 inches when it comes down, and the kickstand has to be good for that height and also has to be good for 2 inches higher. So if it was designed for the lowest position, when it goes to the high position, the bike would be leaning over way too much. And in the dirt, you're going to be having a bike that's going to fall all the time. So I don't know what the fix for that is going to be. The way that I fix it is when you come to a stop, turn the bike off, shimmy the bike backwards and forwards, and the bike will actually rise back up, and the kickstand is not going to have as much of a problem getting put out. And or what I've been doing is parking on when I'm off road. I park on when I'm on a gravel road. I park on actually on the left side. There's not a lot of traffic, so I just park on the left side of the road instead of the right side, because most roads that are gravel are kind of crowned. And when you're trying to park on the right side, and the bike is down 2 inches, there's just not enough room for to put the kickstand out, and you got to lean the bike to the right, and you're already leaning to the right, and you're gonna just end up falling over. So the kickstand's a problem, but I also don't know what the fix would have been, or a better solution. Hopefully, there's some smarter people out there that can figure that one out. Maybe in the aftermarket world, who knows? But the kickstand's a problem, but not a problem in my opinion. Anyways, the other is weight. Obviously, the bike is heavy, but it is super well balanced for its weight. The only thing is obviously, if you're going to be taking a big ADV off road and you're going to drop it, either hope you have friends with you or you have some good technique on lifting it up. I've been lucky enough to not have dropped it yet by myself. I've always had somebody around to help me up, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes with when being by myself, but I'm sure I can get it up. So the biggest con for me is going to be the airbox placement. I don't know what they're thinking, but the airbox is under the tank. Taking the tank off is not easy. It's quite involved getting to the airbox for maintenance and for cleaning. Um, it's a huge pain in the ass. So again, I'm not an engineer. I don't know what the fix would have been, or what they could have done differently. The KTM, obviously, the ones that I had the airbox right under the seat, super easy to maintain. So if you're going to be doing a lot of maintenance yourself, you'll have to take that into consideration. That's a huge pain in the ass. And doing that, mid adventure, can prove to be a big pain. Um, the other thing that I dislike about the bike is its connectivity with your phone. They have a whole system with HD Connect, and be honest, it's useless. Um, there's no point even using it. I don't. When it comes to mapping and GPS, I have a Garmin. When there's music, I have my, at the time I had a Cena, but I just switched to Cardo. So, I use that for music, and I just don't bother connecting my phone to the bike. It'd be nice to be able to do volume control on the bike and all that, but it's not worth the hassle using that software. It just really isn't that good. But not that huge a deal either. So one of the cons, especially when I'm reading things online nowadays, is the continuation of people saying how unreliable this bike is. It couldn't be further from the truth. But early on, absolutely. A lot of the bikes, the 2021 model year, had some issues. Not all of them. Mine didn't have issues, but some of my clients that I sold bikes to definitely had issues. They got left stranded. It was frustrating to a lot of customers. But Harley's been working on them over 2021, and then the 22 model year. I would say about halfway through that model year, pretty much everything was sorted out, and the electronic issues are pretty much dealt with. Um, I don't want to say 100% because I know there's still people online that say things here and there. I don't know. I've had no issues, and pretty much all the clients that we have at our store um, have been good. Um, so it bothers me that there's still that belief that this bike is an unreliable motorcycle, and it's just not true. If you're buying a 22, 23, or 24, you can guarantee that the bike is going to be really good. If it's a 21, the harness on the motorcycle is different than all the other ones. They made changes in 2022. Um, so you may want to stay away from 21s, but mine is fine. My friend Haman, who I ride with a lot. I have another friend, Darren. He also has one, and he doesn't have any issues anymore. He did have issues early on, but he's pretty good now. So if you're thinking about reliability, don't worry about it. It's fine. Um, the other thing that's bugging me about this bike is not related to the bike itself, but it's been manufacturer support, not from Harley. Well, you know what? A little bit from Harley too. There's not a lot of upgrades for the bike other than the normal stuff that came out the first year. They haven't been releasing extra accessories. The aftermarket world, some companies have given a full suite of parts for it, but a lot of the ADV companies are completely ignoring this bike. That really ticks me off. There's a stigma of Harley motorcycles, and I think the ADV world isn't isn't accepting of it, which is unfortunate. The stigma of fat white, I shouldn't say it, forget it. But we all know what stigma Harley has, and I just wish more companies would believe in this bike, as I do. All right, so here's another one for the bike that's actually interesting. Not a lot of people talk about this, but the headlight on the bike isn't the brightest in the world. It's okay, but I've ridden with other bikes or other riders on different bikes, and their headlights are so much brighter than this one. Um, I haven't added any accessory or auxiliary lights yet, but it's on the wish list for sure. On my last trip to the Pickaxe Loop, we had a lot of night riding twice, and yeah, it's just not bright enough. You definitely want some auxiliary lights if you can. And lastly, heat. This one's a real one. So this bike produces a lot of engine heat. Um, if you're just wearing your jeans and your shoes or whatever, just daily riding, whatever normal motorcycle gear, um, your right side, especially your foot area, is gonna roast pretty good if you're stuck in traffic. If you're moving, it's not a big deal. But if you're in city traffic, it does get really hot. Um, in 2023, they released a panel for the left side. The left side, the fan was blowing air onto your knee, and that was pretty hot too. And now there's an accessory that you can purchase, and it deviates or diverts the air away from your knee. So the left side's fine. Right side, I'm curious. They released a heat shield, but I haven't installed it yet, so I don't know if it really makes a difference. But the way that the cat on the bike and the cap box, that's where the heat's being generated. So I'm curious to see if like a full set of pipes would alleviate that problem. I know Arrow makes a head pipe for the bike, but I don't have one, or I don't have a way to test it, so I can't say for sure. But I have read online that either eliminating the black box catalytic or getting a head pipe does get rid of the problem on the right side, and then on the left side, the little accessory definitely takes care of that. So it's possible to get rid of that the heat issue, but in its stock form, 22 and the 21s for sure, they're going to roast your legs. The 23s, 24s, obviously they have the heat shields and the left side deviator. So deviator, I don't even know if that's a word, but whatever. So yeah, takes care of the heat issue for the most part. Um, so that's pretty much all I have for pros and cons. I mean, if you're considering the Pan America for your next big ADV bike, I definitely recommend it. It's an amazing bike. I've never had so much fun on a motorcycle in my life. It's hands down the best bike I've ever owned. And yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. All right, later.